the Neckbeard. Can he break things? Yes, he can! Bob the Neckbeard, Part 1. How not to make a first impression. Probably by singing Bob the Neckbeard. Hello everyone. Longtime lurker and first-time poster here. I thought I should finally share my unfortunate experiences with the Neckbeard with you all. Maybe we should take a look at our cast first, however. Nightlighten, that is R.O.P., yours truly, 15 at the time of this story, short, rather shy and quiet, loves gaming, into anime, just go about my day doing what I love and not worrying what others think about it. Vibe, mood, yeah, I get it. Okay around strangers, and talking is okay. She will never speak the first word, however, and she doesn't like being touched by unfamiliar people. Usually wears clothing that is more for comfort than for appearance. Bob is of course our titular Neckbeard, also 15 or 16 at this time, tall, chubby, sweaty, and hair greasier than a warehouse of old chip pans. Oh, like fries. I think we've gone across the pond, didn't it? He always wore the same few t-shirts with game logos, characters, references on them, and they were all stained with substances currently unknown to science. Sweat that could be used as a weapon to clear out a room, questing to make Lady Nightlighten his milady. That brings us to Mr. Sir, who is OP's math teacher and form tutor. Cool guy, he knows what kind of person I am. So that's it. We'll get a little bit of backstory. I had shared maths classes with Bob for years, but we hadn't been seated next to each other until this story started, so we never really interacted. At the start of the new academic year, about September 1st-ish, our maths group had a move around with seats, and this was the kind of class where you were assigned a seat. My maths teacher was also my form tutor, so he allowed me to stay where I normally sit during form because, you know, he was cool like that. Unfortunately, I did not know the horrors that would be in store once Bob was assigned to the seat beside mine. My seat was at the end of a desk. Well, that is unfortunate. He's got you cornered. There would be about a 5 to 10 minute gap between end of form and the beginning of lessons, and with all but one of my maths lessons being at the start of the day, I would be spending a lot of time sitting around waiting for the class to arrive and for the lesson to start. I'd usually bring a book or something to pass the time, and on this particular fateful day, I decided to read one of the volumes of Death Note. Oh, that is like catnip for neckbeards. We should know this by now. Although this was, you know, almost a decade ago, so Neckbeard's relatively new thing. Anyways, a few minutes early, Bob rocked up to the door and entered. Where's my new seat? Bob blared out, obnoxiously loud. It's just over there, next to OP, Mr. Sir said after he consulted the seating plan, with a slight tinge of annoyance in his voice. Before I knew it, this small planet had moved across the room and plonked himself down right next to me. The smell was not pleasant, but I managed to keep my eyes on Death Note. That book's only gonna keep you safe for so long, OP. Oh my goodness. I recoil slightly at the sudden squeal in my ear and then look at Bob. You like Death Note too? He says again, far too loudly. I stay silent and nod at him. My name's Bob. Your name escapes me. What is it? He asks. I'm Nightlighten, OP says quietly, as she turns back to her reading. What a beautiful name, milady. Yeah, right out the gate. There you go. Why don't you take a note from Death Note and try eating some apples instead of Cheetos, right? He says this as he outstretches his arm for a handshake. First contact with his hand instantly covers my hand with his sweat. And he gives the sweat seeps into OP's pores as Bob gives a far too hard handshake. I discreetly wipe my hand on my skirt The handshake was where I got to get a real good look at him. We all wear uniforms, but his white shirt is stained and creased all over. I quickly turned back and just tried to continue my reading. Out of the corner of my eye, I see him reach into his bag, pull out one of those replica death notes, and place it on the table. He then, rather roughly, nudges my arm. "Hey, look at this! Pretty cool, right?" he says with a huge grin that is borderline smug. "Yeah, I have one too," I say, in the most uninterested tone I can muster. "Torpedo at SS Bob's ego confirmed. Direct hit." "Oh," he said, sounding defeated. I'll be real with you, at this point, OP's not winning any points. I feel bad for Bob. He's trying to make a human connection. What's wrong with that, OP? Oh, he smells bad. You've judged Bob before you've even gotten to know him. So, the start of the lesson is drawing close, with the rest of the students filing in, so I put away my book and wait. I see Bob writing in the replica death note. He sees this and puts a flabby arm across to cover what it is he's writing for a while, before shoving it right in front of me. Surprise! I look down to see that he's written my name in large letters. Oh, snap! While I'm a little weirded out, I fake a small chuckle and pass it back to him. "Milady laughed at his thing. Move to phase 2. Now he chuckles. "I'm just kidding, of course. I would never want anyone as cute as you to die." Bro, what? Thank you? Question mark. He says this as he gives my arm a playful push, as if we were a married couple in some cheesy TV ad. This is the second step of the Dennis method. He is now engaging in physical contact. Okay. Thanks, I say back, not knowing what else to say. Really, there's no correct way to respond to that. Throughout that lesson, I constantly see Bob glancing my way and staring at me. It is seriously pretty weird, but not as weird as when he had to squeeze past me and put his fat little hands on my shoulder for balance, while moving his large frame from one side of my seat to the other. On his way back, he damn near knocked me straight off my seat as he barged past, which he never apologized for. Yeah, Bob is looking worse and worse by the moment. Go off, OP. See, the introduction is written with hindsight in mind. Now all the dirt is starting to spill out, and I think we have ourselves another very derpy neckbeard. I'm so excited for this one, you guys. I am praying for this lesson to end, as it was both mentally and physically tiring to be next to Bob for so long. Finally, the bell rings, and I put my things away. Bob does the same, but he waits for me to finish. And once I have, he walks with me. He walks with me all the way to my next lesson, even though, although I didn't know this back then, his next lesson was on the other side of the school. I mean, good. Maybe he'll have to run to get there. Maybe it'll help him out fitness-wise in ways we couldn't predict. Have fun and learn lots, he says with a creepy grin. Thanks, I say quietly. Thanks, Bob. But just before I'm able to go into the classroom to escape, he puts a hand on my shoulder. At lunch, you should come and hang out with my friends. I'll save you a seat next to me, he says with an even creepier wink. Yeah, I'm a pass. Yeah, maybe, I say, trying to imply that what I actually mean is no. Not even if you were the last guy on Earth. He smiles at me and gives me a tight hug. Ugh. I lock my arms by my side as I said at the top, I don't like being touched by unfamiliar people. I am forced to breathe in the essence of Neckbeard's sweat, and it makes me want to puke. After he lets go, I quickly say bye and just head into the lesson as quickly as I possibly could. In the next episode, Bob feels defeated when Milady chills with her own friends and gets jealous of one of the group's members. Already, like, oppressively possessive. This is the first day we've met, dude. As far as the hug goes, I would have asked him to please not do that. But I understand, 15, 16, it's an awkward time, both for OP and for Bob. Although it does seem to me like OP is coping with it far better than Bob is. So let's get into the second part and watch it devolve even further. Bob the Neckbeard, Part 2. Bob makes Milady's best friend his enemy. Yeah, just teleport behind her, bro. Oh my wabo shindaru. Naughty? Nothing personal, Milady. Baka. Alright, I'm back with the next installment of the unfortunate tales of Bob. Part 1 is here if you'd like to read it again, although I just read it to you. Night Lighten is ROP, yours truly, 15, reserved and quiet for the most part, and unfortunately small, at a pint size 5'4". Very into video games and anime, possibly being considered neckbeard bait. Bob is the man of the hour himself, 6 feet of rotund horror. 15 or 16 at the time, sweats like a pig in a butcher shop, and has probably never heard the word deodorant in his life. It's antiperspirant. No, it's not. Always sports some tatty clothes, covered in creases and or stains, insanely creepy and far too touchy, definitely has the small beginnings of a neckbeard forming. Rosa is a new character, one of OP's best friends and partners in crime, 14 at the time. We've known each other for years, even shorter than I at a teeny tiny 5'2", a lot more vocal than I am, and is a nice girl until someone pushes her buttons. Doesn't share the same interests in anime as I do, but we enjoy playing video games together. By the end of this chapter, she becomes one of Bob's enemies. Oh no, he's gonna write your name in a book that he bought at Hot Topic. Look out! Nate is another close friend of mine, also 15. No relationship between us outside of friendship. We had to both make that very clear to a certain someone many times. He likes a lot of the same anime and video games that I do, mostly by introducing each other to things that we like. He had blonde hair in a ponytail, which earned him the nickname Zero after the Mega Man X character who also sports a long blonde ponytail. I mean, did he really earn that nickname? I had to start a whole YouTube channel to finally get a cool nickname. Nate was, of course, one of the main targets of Bob's criticism, and with that, let us begin. After Bob had forced me into that hug and asked me to sit with his friends at lunch, I managed to avoid him for a while by chilling with the regulars, Rosa, Nate, a few other familiar faces, and I really did think that I had gotten away with it until Bob finally sleuthed me out. Hey, OP, I thought you said you'd come and sit with my friends. He said this with a sort of disappointment in his tone. No, I said maybe. I didn't say yes, I said back to him. I just thought you'd want to change from this lot. He was trying his hardest to sound mysterious or something. I could see Rosa and Nate exchange a look of, is this guy for real? Bob, you wouldn't even know if I was bored of my friends or not. We only met this morning, I said. I felt kind of bad, but hey, I had to be frank with him, otherwise he wouldn't get the picture. There you go, OP, better late than never. Fine. Okay then. He admitted defeat before waddling off back to his own crew. Fortunately, that was the last time that I saw him, at least that day. As time passed, it seemed like Bob was a little less annoying after I told him that he barely knew me. At least that's what I thought. About a month later, the weather was starting to get cooler. Nate was busy with the club that he was in, so it was just me and Rosa standing outside. The poor girl was shivering like a leaf because she'd forgotten her coat. Uh-oh. I said that we should go inside to keep her warm, so we headed into the hall, which was open to students at lunchtimes. Oh, that is a good move, OP. With Rosa out there shivering in such a fashion, I thought she was about to get miladied real hard. Anyways, we did do this on occasion when it was too hot or too cold outside. To my dismay, I noticed Bob walk in and start looking left and right as if he were scanning the room. Rosa, don't move. Let me hide behind you, I said, half joking, half serious. Mostly serious. Why? What is it? She asked me. Before I had a chance to answer, I saw Bob stampeding my way. The look on Rosa's face confirmed that she knew what it was that I was talking about. Now, a few seconds too late. Hi! Is it a little cold out there for you two ladies today? Bob said condescendingly. Bro, you made inside, you still gonna get belated. This is terrible. Yeah, Rosa left her coat at home, I say back, trying to use the same uninterested tone that I mentioned in part 1. If I needed one today, I'd give mine up for her, Bob says. At first, I'm thinking how much of a tool he sounds like, but then I remembered that I already gave Rosa my coat to keep her warm. This meant that Bob had not even looked at or barely acknowledged Rosa's presence at all. I also noticed how he had entered the hall only a few moments after we did, and then I put 2 and 2 together and assumed that he must have seen me and followed me in here so he could talk to me. Just a light bit of stalking, isn't it? A friendly stalking. Okay, OP says back, now starting to feel a bit more unnerved. Hey, you should come join me and my friends. We're in room whatever number it was, and we're playing insert card game name here. There's proper heating in there, so you'll be nice and warm, he says as he takes my hands and proceeds to lift me off of my seat. Bro, he is so desperate to bring a milady back to the nest. Why? No thanks, I want to stay with Rosa, I said, as I quickly jerked my hand away and hold them both close to my chest. Rosa notices this, and knowing that I don't like to be touched by unfamiliar people, prepares to metaphorically pounce. Rosa can come too. There's plenty of space, he says, as he drapes his fat arm over my shoulders to start leading me to the room. Bro, this is far too physical. What the hell are you doing? What planet are you from, Bob? OP draws the line in the sand saying, no, stop it, I say, as I duck under his arm and step backwards so that I end up next to Rosa, who, as I ducked, had quickly stood up, knocking her chair over. Do not touch OP like that again, or I'll punch your dong off, Rosa, who has a beautiful way with words, said to Bob, who looked taken aback. See you in maths then. God damn it, dude. You're really not getting the message, are you? I think we need to go back to the teacher in part 1 and ask him to move Bob somewhere else. He's far too comfortable. I'm concerned for my safety. This is not a good thing. So Bob does indeed slink away in defeat. I give Rosa a big hug and thank her for sticking up for me. A few people who know us saw the outburst and came over and asked if everything was okay. Yeah, now it is. Thanks for your concern. In the maths lesson that followed that outburst, Bob was fairly nice. Fairly nice in this situation, meaning giving a pretty crap apology and not even really knowing what it is you did wrong. I'm really sorry about whatever I did, Bob said to me. He's trying to be sincere, I guess, so I give him the benefit of the doubt. Don't worry about it. It's fine, I say. This, to him, means that he's off the hook, and I hear him muttering every now and then throughout the lesson. I think that's pretty weird in itself, and I was pretty sure that I heard Rosa brought up here and there within that mumbling, but I just shrugged it off and assumed that it was my imagination. My thoughts were confirmed once I heard, Rosa, you friggin' dumb cow, as Bob is packing up all his stuff at the end of the lesson. As we were still sitting down, I swung my legs sideways to the left, and then a swift swing to the right, and I kicked Bob in the leg. I hear his knee hit the bottom of the table as it recoils in pain. Oh, my mistake, I say, as I give him a sweet but devious smile, sling my bag over my shoulder, and leave the room feeling pretty rad, bro. Party demon, whoa. Little did I know that Bob thought it was a genuine accident and that we're still great buddies, but that is a story for another day. I mean, I guess you gotta get your hits in where you can get them, you know? I don't know if it was all necessary, but after what he'd done to you, I mean, it's kind of tit for tat, isn't it? OP said part 3 was a story for another day, but I'm eager to get into it, so let's check that one out right now. Bob the Neckbeard part 3. The part where it starts getting weird. Or when a neckbeard is now after 2 miladies. It was better than 1 milady. Oh boy, this is where Bob's true neckbeardy self really shines. Part 1 and 2, we just read them. You can go read them again though. Also, I should mention, if you watch this far in the video, you're probably enjoying the content, so please do subscribe to ReddX. So, be me, OP, 15, short, quiet, reserved, unless I'm with friends. Into video games and anime, neckbeard bait, rarely dresses to impress, just wears whatever's comfortable at the time. Or you could be Rosa, who's 14, best bud, partner in crime, shorter than me, pretty frail, sweet as a bag of sugar most of the time until someone pushes her buttons. Unfortunately is a little too vocal for her own good, which causes a few bad situations where I was forced to bail her out. Never, under any circumstances, should you ever be Bob, who's 15 or 16 at this time. He's just a tall mass of unshowered horror. Sweats like a turkey on Christmas Eve, and always has some substance unknown to science on basically all of his clothing. He has an awful patchy neckbeard forming on his chin, and enough grease in his hair to provide cooking oil to a family of 4 for an entire year. Now, is that a family of 4 in addition to what Bob himself consumes? Because you know that boy likes some fried foods, right? Anyways, time to begin our tale. So we had a week off from school, which I was ecstatic about because, of course, no school, but also because I was able to get away from Bob for at least a little while. You see, after the last encounter of his, he went back to talking to me in maths lessons and being overly creepy, compliments from literally out of nowhere, which really I don't have a problem with. It's just sort of weird coming from him. Staring, touching, hitting on me. Yeah, you know the drill. But Bob thinks that we're great buddies. Just to clarify, the group of us all live in the same town, so it wasn't uncommon to see people that you knew from school around. I'd gone to Rosa's house and asked her if she wanted to come out for a while, and we headed towards a place that serves a damn good ice cream cone. Honestly, I don't know how you do ice cream wrong, to be fair. I hope we don't run into Bob down here, I say jokingly, giving Rosa a little nudge. Don't remind me, she says with a head shake. We buy our ice creams and head to the usual spot, a brick wall by our town's fitness center. This spot was a favorite of ours because of how quiet it was. The fitness center wasn't in the main part of town, and the only thing near was a housing estate, which was on the other side of the building, so we sit on the wall, facing the grass, which leads downwards into some woods. We were happily chatting away until Rosa hears a noise. Oh no, he's lurking in the woods. I think I hear something, she said as she quickly looked around, but nothing was there, just an empty car park. It might have been a dry leaf falling off a tree, I say back. Bro, how good is your hearing? I guess when you're young. Rosa shrugs, and we continue our conversation. But we keep hearing these noises and continue to shrug them off. It was autumn after all, so there was bound to be some falling leaves. It's all going fine until I suddenly hear the sounds right behind me in quick succession. It all happens really quick, and I suddenly freeze and drop my ice cream cone as I hear a nasally squeal from behind and feel a heavy hand land on my shoulder. I know exactly who it is. Hi, OP! I heard Bob squeak. Hi, Bob, I say, concerned for the well-being of my ponytail, which is over said shoulder. The smell is terrible, as his sweat scent is starting to fill the area. Even while you're outside, man, we need a stiff breeze or something. Hello, Bob, Rosa says, in a tone that is quite obviously saying, dude, Get the hell off her. Hello, Rosa, Bob says. I'm expecting a flame war here, so I lower my head in a sorry attempt to be hidden. I'm genuinely sorry about what I did, and I wanted to express my deepest regrets, Bob says to Rosa. I know for a fact that he had no idea what he had done in the first place, as evidenced by the hand, which is still on my shoulder. But okay, at least he's trying to make amends. Is he, though? I've become desensitized to his odd way of speaking, which has become worse as of late, but this was a whole new thing to Rosa. Thanks. I'm sorry too, she said back, not really knowing what else to say. That's good. I'm happy to say that we have all corrected our wrongdoings. Wouldn't you agree? He says as he steps out from behind the wall. You notice how there suddenly are wrongdoings? Isn't that weird? So, at this point, I see that Bob is wearing a fedora. I thought he was neckbeardy enough, but he is literally wearing a fedora. He's also wearing some worn-out tracksuit trousers and a, you guessed it, stained Assassin's Creed t-shirt. You look like a mess. Go spend $50 on a suit or something, Jesus. He stands in front of Rosa and then thrusts forward a hand for a handshake. I see the nope in Rosa's eyes as she shakes hands with this beast. This is it. To him, he has now made amends with Milady's friend, who is a female. Well, I guess I better try and woo her too. You weren't doing great with one, Bob. How's two gonna go? So where are we venturing to now? He asks. That's right. Not even asking if he could tag along. He just flat out says that, okay, he's chilling with us now, and that we are now going somewhere else. So I speak up. Nowhere? This is our wall, I say. Me, Rosa, and Nate have a joke that this wall is ours. I would soon realize that it was a mistake saying this to Bob. Oh, I see. As he grotesquely jumps up on the wall next to me. I fall silent and signal for Rosa to follow suit. So it was just 3 people sat on a wall in total silence. That's right. Let's make this as awkward as possible. We'll all sit here and die together. Bob then decided to break the silence by doing one of those fake yawns and putting an arm over my shoulders, and somehow Rosa's shoulders as well. He must have felt like he was the star of the crappiest rom-com movie ever, where 2 girls are after him and he just chooses both of them. Surely that's a happy ending, right? A few seconds after contact, I hop off the wall. Come on, Rosa, we gotta go now or we won't have time to play Brawl before Dad gets home and takes over the TV, I say. As soon as I see Bob's face light up, I realize that mentioning Super Smash Bros. Brawl was another huge mistake. Death Note, Brawl, we just can't have anything nice. You like Smash Bros? You have to come and let me play, he says. Rosa is pretty much in shock since the start of this ordeal, so she remains silent. Sorry, I only have 2 Wii remotes, I say. I do have trouble saying no to people, so this is the best that I could come up with. Don't worry, I can bring mine. I live just over there, he says, as he points to the housing estate. Damn, he lives near our meetup spot? So I put 2 and 2 together and come to the conclusion that he must have just seen us and followed us. Again. I also notice that he managed to drop his smart guy facade once he got excited. Okay, then, I guess, I say, regretting not just walking off in silence as soon as he arrived. Lead the way to the estate, ladies, he says far too loudly while pointing. I am mentally facepalming at this point, and I'm sure Rosa is too. Oddly enough, Bob seems to drag a few meters behind, giving us directions. Left there, follow this path, etc. And Rosa motions to the house windows as we walk. Look, she says. I look in the reflection of a house window. In the reflection of the window is me, Rosa, and 3 or 4 meters behind, Bob, who is quite clearly looking at our butts, just like straight up staring without a care in the world. I'm wearing some shorts that day, and Rosa was wearing a skirt, so we weren't, like, covered up, to say the least. Dude, what the hell? That is creeping me out, I say to Rosa, and she nods in agreement. When he goes inside, we're gonna make a break for it, yeah? I say, and she nods to confirm. Here we are, Bob says, as he opens the door and holds it open. We'll wait out here because we need to set off as soon as possible, Rosa says. I wait for Bob to disappear from sight and then grab Rosa's arm and head for home as quick as humanly possible. That's one way to handle it. Bob, however, just assumes that we had to leave without him because we wouldn't be able to play a match or something. TLDR, Neckbeard follows me and my friend is now questing to gain 2 miladies, stares at our butts, and then gets ditched, rightfully so. This whole thing, just an absolute mess, but I am so eager to sink my teeth into more of it. It gives me some real Sir Sam vibes, those earliest Neckbeard stories type of vibes. I definitely hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know how you felt in the comments. Subscribe, like the video, hit that bell if you haven't quite yet. Follow me on all the things, Twitter, Discord, Facebook, all them social medias. We also got the Patreon patrons and YouTube channel members who are just like, the most MVP thing ever. We got through January just fine. Thank you guys for all of your support. Join us again tomorrow. In the meantime, keep yourself safe out there. Wash your hands. Always remember, friends, you are loved, you are worthy, you definitely deserve it. And I shall see you in the next one. So until then, friends, bye-bye.